Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in Minnesota. Maybe, or maybe he's gone global. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just a humble employee or CEO or the only guy or whatever. But I am traveling, an Article 4 free inhabitant under the Articles of Confederation, the only true government, the smallest and truest government the United States has or will ever had, not with that imposter constitution, that bastardized document giving our rights away like so much chaff to the federal oppressors. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. I am on an internet connection that is not tested. It is not tested for this, and it is very possible that there will be some lag and buffering. I hope not. But it's what I can do. It's what I can do, and I think it will be passable for tonight. If not, I'll make some adjustments to settings tomorrow, and we'll get it going. But here we are. We're here, and we are here for Jamie Marchi's TCPA motion. So it's still there. Oh my God. We're here for Jamie Marchi's TCPA filing. It was filed on the 19th along with Monica Rial's. And now, forgive me. I don't know that Marchi's deadline was the 19th, but I can almost promise you that they coordinated to increase their power or something equally stupid, right? That they thought that if they filed them together, that would somehow do something. I don't think their lawyers thought this, mind you, but I think that they did. Like, I'm with you, sisters. That was Marchi talking to Ron and Monica. That seems to be the case, but maybe their deadlines just happen to be on the same day. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Let's clear some things up. I took a picture earlier today. I took a picture, just walking out on a random walk in a building in a town, and some people are suggesting that was evidence of me being deposed. No, I'm not being deposed. That discovery stay is a real nasty thing, isn't it? Having that discovery stay means they can't request my deposition without first asking the court's permission to, they have to petition the court through motion to get permission to override the TCPA stay. They'll have to have a hearing on that. Depending on the outcome of the hearing, assuming the judge grants a stay to the TCPA discovery stay, if he grants an exception to it to take my deposition, they would then have to notice me for deposition, which will take a while to go through. I think they have to give me something like at least 10 days notice. I believe. I'm not positive on that. Don't rules lawyer me on it. They can't just do it. That's the main point here. They can't just do it. So no, I'm not being deposed. Also, the best part about all of this, of course, for me, is the very smart law Twitter, the smartest of lawyers. They're really the best lawyers. It's why they can spend all day, every day, for 2 months tweeting nonstop. They're really, really good lawyers who are very busy and consumed with what they're doing so much that they can spend all day, every day, for 2 months commenting on a case that they're not working, they can do that. That's great. I'm very proud of them for being very capable lawyers who are doing that. They have some great takes of my picture. Let's get this picture pulled up. I think we could do that. Oh my God, Twitter changed their format and it is the most horrendous thing I've seen in a while. Let's get this tweet pulled up here. I can't even get the full tweet in frame. Oh my gosh, what an abysmal change they made. There we go. Just a second. Oh, just absolutely terrible. So we'll only have part of the tweet because we can only get part of it. Here we go. Here we go. This is my tweet. Seriously, the worst format ever. Yeah, that's the Wick Phillips office right here. So that's how that's going. Hey, look, relevant people is me. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. So here you are. I probably photoshopped this. I'm actually still in Minnesota, and all of that. So the take from this, the hottest, smartest take from very smart lawyers. These people, this is the important thing to remember. Like, you need the record scratch and the freeze frame when you read some of their tweets. It's like, it was at this point I felt it necessary to remind you that these are allegedly real lawyers, right? So they're suggesting that somehow me taking a picture in my free time on a vacation shows that I would have no burden to come to Texas, or that I'm somehow under the jurisdiction of Texas. Nope, not how that works. Not how that works at all. So that's just funny, though. It's funny. Plus, I mean, the main thing, is less about the hardship and more about all of the other hurdles they have to get through. But sure, go ahead and try and get a Texas judge to order a Minnesota resident who's not in Texas into Texas for deposition. Please, please, please listen to Law Twitter. They know all. They're a hive mind of brilliant geniuses that keep coming up with the right things. So by all means, Monica, Ron, Marchi, Funimation, don't listen to your real lawyers. Don't listen to anybody but Law Twitter. And definitely try and get the judge. Try and get the judge to to authorize my deposition here in Texas. Oh God, please try it. Try it. Oh, that'd be so fun. That'll be just, that's the best advice you could get. It really is. I take back everything negative I've ever said about Mike Dunford or any of those other dummies. Do it. Do that. That one thing. That would be fun. Let me see. Hold on. I've got one more tweet to show you guys before we get started. We will get into the oh God, I hate looking at this. We will get into the TCPA in just a second. This is just for fun stuff. Here we go. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. God, you are fat and ugly. Ugh. Where is it? Sorry, I should have had this prepared. Here we go. Oh, God, there's a trigger warning on this tweet. You're about to see something horrifying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that this is about to happen to you, but it must be done. So gird your loins. Your jocks are about to be shocked. Here we go. There it is. Oh. So, little Missy decided she would be funny, like, because I did a joke. So she's not funny. So she had to try and do the same joke. So and she tagged her bald cuck lover or whatever it is, Greg Doucette, in it. So, but apparently Renfamous went to Tyler today. Who knows why? But, yeah, so there you go. Very cool. Very cool. Whatever this is. Of course, who knows what she's even responding to? I don't think anybody actually knows what they're responding to when they respond to a Greg tweet, because by the time they get around to responding, he's tweeted 27 other times and no one even remembers. See, this is the problem with vomiting onto Twitter, hundreds and hundreds of tweets, is no one cares to follow what you're doing. So, I don't know, free advice on how to not lose subscribers faster than you lost your hair, or whatever. So there we go. That's this is what they're reduced to, right? Like, not memeing hard enough, so then they have to take someone else's joke and use it. Renfamous, can I call you Fatso? I'm going to call you Fatso. Fatso. Here's the problem with your joke versus my joke. No one's looking for you. So there you go. All right. So let me hit the early chats here. There are a couple waiting that I need to address, and then we'll jump into Marchi's TCPA. This is probably going to be pretty chill tonight, I guess, because I'm in this new, very echoey room. I hope it's not echoing too much into your into the microphone. Let's see. Someone asked, what's the story with Chuck Huber? Stay tuned on Chuck. The story on Chuck is getting beat on by people. And I think he's getting beat on by the Kick Vic side of things. I don't know. Let me just tell you this. Chuck has been a friend to Vic throughout this entire thing. So if anyone needs a little bit of grace and deference, especially from our side, let me just suggest that it's Chuck Huber. If you're out there, if you're on Vic's side and you're giving Vic's friend a hard time, I would suggest not to do that. Vic considers Chuck a friend. Chuck considers Vic a friend. So let's not mess with that. All right. I don't know what else to say on it. I think Chuck, I'm not fond of the statements Chuck wrote and the confusion that it caused. I'm not. That's why I didn't bring them up a lot earlier. Because, well, they didn't matter until Monica's counsel tried to make them matter. They still don't matter. They're not the words of any of the parties. They're the words of someone trying to heal a rift that he saw forming in the anime community. And the rift is real, right? They say the grift is real. The rift is definitely real. It's here. So Chuck was trying to head that off. He had good intentions. They didn't work out. He shouldn't be picked on or beat up by anybody for that. So let's not. I don't know. If I have any sway over your decision on whether or not you should pick on Chuck Huber, let it be that I think that he's a good guy and should be not bothered. Okay. All right, let's hit these chats. Czar Warudo says, please consider making a contribution to Führer J. Dolph Lemoyne's Lemoyne's Kickstarter project. Oh God, what is this? Hold on. Mein Waifu is the Führer, a parody visual novel. Oh, when did this start? 20 days to go? So apparently someone is suggesting that this is, oh, here we go. This is Jadolf Lemoyne's Kickstarter. I don't know if it is. Here, let me pull it up real quick. I don't know if this is true or not, but here you go. You can check this out on your own. Mein Waifu is the Führer, a parody visual novel. So there you go. Check that out if you're interested in helping Jay Sean fund an iron lung. Oh, so I think I've told you guys I rarely I just got no control over this framing. Oh my, this is just terrible. Oh God, we'll figure it out. That I occasionally get complaints. Oh, this is not good. What can we do here? Figure that out. All right. I occasionally get complaints on jokes that I do, and someone has asked me to stop making fun of Jadolf the Führer's breathing. They don't like this impression very much. And let me just give a heartfelt answer to the person who said that. I make fun of all sorts of people for whatever reason I find amusing. If I suddenly police myself because one person is offended by one joke out of the 100 that I might do during a stream, then I'll eventually run out of jokes. Because if I give in to your particular thing that bothers you, then the next person's going to come with something that bothers them. And then I have a logical quandary. Well, I don't do this joke for one person. Why do I do this joke when it bothers another person? I'm not into that. Never will be. Don't do it. That's it. So no, thank you. I hope that helps. Hope that helps explain it. Your art is trash, says came from Meyer versus Wade, stayed for Vic. Oh, by the way, Meyer versus Wade, I think they've got documents dropping tomorrow. Yeah, they should have some tomorrow. Giving to them and you, and also got one of your spicy stickers for the case for my 38. Ooh, awesome. Awesome. Please keep doing excellent work. Fun fact, I worked for 6 years for my state's MCLE office, dealt with the worst lazy lawyers. Yeah, well, CLE sucks, so that's why. Era says, happy belated birthday to my waifu. Aquino.in or LN. Celebration say ara ara as, oh wait, no, Aquino. In celebration say ara ara as seductively as possible. Ara ara. I don't know if that's seductive or not, but we're going with it. Would have been on time on Sunday, but boomering boomer's gonna boomering boomer. Yeah, Sunday was not gonna work. It was not gonna work. So there we go. Okay, those are Justice chats. Kaiser Koopa says, Nick, if you had to choose between a knobber from Ron or getting pegged by Monica, and your life depended on it, which would you choose? I need to know. Rule 34 and all those research purposes. I would choose my life ending in Minecraft. That's what I would choose. If my life depended on it, it's too bad. Right? That's like your life depending on the EpiPen that isn't there. Sorry. Texan83 says, Sup, Nick? Pages 321 and 355 of Moron TCPA are the exact same pages listed as different exhibits. Is that normal? No, nothing about that TCPA is normal. Oh, that's been funny. That's been really funny. Watching watching Law Twitter defend that TCPA has been an absolute riot. The best criticism, or the best read on it, is that it's just a pile of trash. Like, that's the best read you can give that, is that it's like 25 pages of garbage and then 2 pages of bad legal argument. All right. We'll see. It's been very funny. Sorry. Okay. Dadocta says, I looked up Vic, Monica, and Jamie under Wikipedia, and whoever edited their pages has obviously kicked Vic the way it's worded. It's also semi-locked, so no one can correct their pages until August 31st. What are your thoughts on it? I am not surprised. Dustin Fitzfar says, this connection is uncertain, unplanned, and unlubed for the pounding of your lawyer stream's girth. Well, that was a little graphic. Nathan Wallace says, before time and heteronormative. 2 things. 1, those red bumps on your face are looking suspiciously like West Nile love bites. No, it's the heat. It's the heat. And 2, take my sweet Aussie super chat cherry and keep being awesome, mate. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Soda Can says, hey, Nick, first time catching you live. Just wanted to say thanks for all you've done when it comes to Vic's situation. Not because you simply support him, but because you believe it's the right thing to do. Great work. Cheers. I do. I very much do. Storm Knight MD says, warning didn't help. My eyes. There isn't enough eye bleach in the world to undo the damage. Well, ask Hillary for help. Seth Rich had a similar problem. Ryan Mercado says, Law Twitter is nothing more than a sad joke and a disgrace to the legal profession. I mean, I agree. Intimidator0108 says, hey, Nick, how was your weekend? Busy. Lots of driving. If you hadn't already noticed, I tagged you and a few others in pics of a 1964 Chevy Impala SS409 that I did decal design on Forza Horizon 4 of Tug's dream car. Yours is next, Nick. Oh, cool. Hey, I'll look for it. Very cool. Where did we go? Oh, gosh. Stella E says, hi, Nick. This is my first super chat. Hey, thank you. Welcome. I was the girl that recognized you Sunday. Oh, yeah. Hi. If you swing by again, I'll buy you a burger or something. I never got to meet you at Anime Matsuri, so it made my day to meet you at my work. Well, Stella, I will be going back past your work, I believe, and I will gladly, you don't have to buy me a burger or anything, but I will gladly stop in. I will gladly stop in and say hi again. Sorry. Sorry, I was very, very abrupt. Had the kids and the family and we were moving through, but hey, how's it going? Mosquito that paws Lemois. Oh God. Says, Nick, I apologize to the audience for leaving Jadolph's voice that way. I was aiming for full vocal paralysis. 10 out of 10 would pause again. RZQDW says, why did you call it the GoFundMe and not the Vic starter? Ooh, that's good. That's good. Dang it. Oh, update. Let me update the GoFundMe real quick as well. Let me update the GoFundMe. What? Here we go. People have questions about the GoFundMe and the amounts kind of bouncing back and forth. Here we are. We're at 232,856. So 232,856. I've been informed by GoFundMe that they're almost done with their review of the account. That's why the things are still getting refunded. They're, from what I understand, they're literally going back through all of the donations ever made. And if you used a joke name, they may even refund old donations that didn't have a joke name. So that's what's going on. You are still welcome to donate. Of course, I would encourage you to donate using a boring Christian name or anonymous, whichever one makes you feel good. But that is, good Lord, I'm thirsty. This heat, man, this heat is brutal. But So it is still climbing. It is still climbing, but they are almost done with their review. The good news about this is, imagine how much review that took. They had to go through over 5,000 donations. Whew. But yeah, so they're almost done, and I will let you know when they're fully done with it. But yeah, just to keep, again, I said in the GoFundMe I would keep you guys as informed as possible. I will do that. The funny thing is, if like Lemoyne and company were to watch the streams, they would know how the GoFundMe operates really easily. Guys, you can come watch. I'll let you click dislike or whatever if you want. That's okay. But we are still going strong, 232,856. So thank you guys. You are awesome. It is well over where it was when they first flagged it. So, but anyway, and I'm still waiting. Oh no, did I do? I here. I'm so bad at this. Hold on. Here it is. It was up there the whole time. I just forgot to show it. Stupid. I can't wait to be home in the vault. I can't wait to be back in the vault. Everything is where it belongs. Okay, anyway. So there we go. So please do check out the GoFundMe. And if you feel like contributing, please, continue to do so. All right. Perception Check says, did you know Vic did a parody song called West Nile Mosquito more than 10 years ago? I did not know, but I have found out. I haven't listened to it. I'll have to give it a peep and maybe bring it up on a stream sometime soon. So, but you guys can go find it. I mean, it's I can't. God's funny. Right. This is Fletch says, give this money to Jay Sean's robot voice box fund. Aww. Thank you for the donation. Billy the Kid Lawrence says, Vic doesn't know about GoFundMe uses, admitted to getting a prostitute and other crimes, admitted to hair pulling. There's damning TCPA evidence from Jamie, libel proof, etc. He's lost. Shane/Kick Vic. We'll see, won't we? The best part, I keep saying it, the best part about this is we'll see who's right at some point here in the near future. And I could be wrong. I've said the entire time I could be wrong. Absolutely could be wrong on this. But I have faith that Ty will do the best job that can be done, and we'll see where the cards fall, won't we? Schwanz Gruberman says, hey, Nick, my theory is that Funimation is going to wait for the outcomes of Ronica and Marchi's suits, then make a decision to fight or make a deal with Vic. Would you say that's accurate or possible? I think Funimation's going to find out if their TCPA goes through or not. And then I think everything changes. If their TCPA doesn't go through, I think Funimation comes running with a checkbook. Yukihiko says, hey, Nick, keep being awesome. Question, is there a way to post my GoFundMe I've made to help pay for this semester in college for my associates in science? Not really, because I had to disable links in the chat because of the Chinese porn bots, or the Shane Holmbergs of the world, were spamming the chat with too many links, and I couldn't. Yeah, like people couldn't even talk. It was ridiculous, and they couldn't be banned fast enough or anything like that. So I had to take them down. Unfortunately, you could try getting in touch with one of the moderators. I mean, I don't mind if the moderators pass on a GoFundMe like this. Heck, I would kind of do it, except I can't really do it live. It's because I'm bad at everything. But yeah, I don't mind them, and I think the moderators can still do it. I just can't have it generally done. So hopefully that answers your question. Jesse Hallam says, if the facts are on your side, pound the facts into the table. If the law is on your side, pound the law into the table. If neither are on your side, pound the table. Lots of table pounding coming from Kick Vic. Well, there's some other pounding that may have been going on that maybe it's good that they've got to change. Maybe someone needs a break. from carrying the snacks. Devin Zachary says, after reading the Veronica TCPA, I'm baffled at how legal counsel can misrepresent like this. Makes me sad. Could Lemoyne or Casey be held accountable for this nonsense? It is absolutely possible for Lemoyne to be sanctioned for that TCPA filing. If the judge finds that it was frivolous, which he may, if the judge is going to deny that TCPA, he may find it frivolous. And, you haven't seen Ty's filing yet. Neither have I, of course. Neither have I. But haven't seen Ty's filing yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, he could absolutely be sanctioned. Casey, probably not as much. Oh, my goodness. Casey, not as much because, Lemoyne drafted it. So he and the clients are probably the primary targets on that. That'd be a shame if they got sanctioned. That'd be funny. Okay. Let's do this. That's the chats for now. Let's jump into this TCPA. Here, let me just go ahead and suggest that I think Sam seems like a much more level-headed lawyer than Lemoyne, and his client is probably in a better position than Lemoyne's clients, and so I expect something to be less stupid in this. But we'll see. You know what's going to hurt Jamie ultimately is what was that? You guys have seen it, I'm sure. She had that direct message with someone where she, quote unquote, hoped a minor would get sexually assaulted so that they could go after Vic because they had nothing. Like, hopefully that would happen. I think that might push towards that whole malice thing, actual malice, because that's acknowledging that they don't have what they need to convince Vic. I mean, I hope Sam, I hope Jamie showed you that direct message where she sent it to someone and acknowledged that they don't know of any crimes or any criminal acts that they're claiming, and she hoped at that point that a minor would come forward and be raped by Vic. That she hoped that would happen to back up their story. I mean, that might look like actual malice if the judge were to see that, at least a prima facie case of actual malice. I mean, you might be able to argue it later on. I mean, I wouldn't want to argue that in front of a jury. I'm just saying. But that might look like a prima facie case of actual malice, because it looks like, or could certainly be argued, that she's entertaining serious doubts as to the validity of their claims and hoping that someone could come in and bolster them by getting Vic arrested for a crime that she doesn't know if it was even committed. That might come into play. I'm just guessing. And like I said, props to you for dealing with her in general, but I don't want to be the lawyer arguing to a jury that my client hoping a minor gets raped so that they can further defame a voice actor that they just don't like. I don't want to be that guy ever. And have fun. If that is you, have fun. I know you'll do a good job, but I bet you'll hate it. So, all right, let's do this. Defendant Jamie Marchi. Jamie. Oh, man, you guys have sent a couple chats in real quick. Morty J, your picture makes you look like one of the Super Troopers. I'm half expecting you to say littering and I should shave off the whole beard and just go with the mustache with the glasses on. Travis Sabard says, what events will be at Bubba Fest? I would like for me and Mom just to do something. Would it be for her? Does she like Steven Seagal or Chuck Norris or the Lizard Lick Towing guys or whatever? You can go see celebrities. You can shop. You can meet people. It's all cool. You'll probably have a good time. And go take her to see Chuck Norris. I mean, your mom, everybody loves Chuck. Dave A says, hey, Nick, I keep loving your live streams. Did you get an email from me? Also, any news on the Duck Commander trademark, or did I miss a requisite live stream? Keep on keeping on, brother Dave A. No, I haven't done anything on the Duck Commander. I've been very busy with the Vic stuff and just not even paying attention to Duck Commander right now. Got lots of time left on that one, so we'll see. As for an email from you, maybe, probably. But I never know the answer to that during a live stream. Harbinger 345 says, Nick, I'm going to paste this link and send it in chat. Full boomer activates, stream shuts down, computer explodes, national power goes out, cases lost again, and anarchy ensues. How embarrassing. That's not inaccurate. Okay, Jamie moves this court pursuant to Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code 27.003 to dismiss all claims set out in the plaintiff's petition in the above styled and numbered case. And in support of this motion shows summary of motion. Plaintiff's lawsuit is an unabashed ploy to quiet his victims and is the precise scenario the Texas legislature sought to prevent when it enacted the Texas Citizens Participation Act in 2011. As established below, plaintiff's legal action must be dismissed because Jamie's complained of statements are protected by our constitutional rights of free speech and association. Plaintiff is a public figure, and plaintiff cannot put forth clear and specific evidence of each element of each of his claims against Jamie. Jamie therefore asks the court to dismiss plaintiff claims against her in accordance with the Texas Citizens Participation Act and to award Jamie her attorney's fees, costs, and sanctions to send a message to abusers across Texas that they cannot use the Texas judicial system to intimidate their victims into silence. Well, I mean, it's a good intro. The problem is he has to be an abuser for it to be true. But that's what they're going to go for, obviously. Evidence in support of motion. In support of this motion, Jamie relies upon the following competent evidence, all of which is incorporated here and by reference. Declaration of Jamie Marchi on July 5th. Marchi's statement via Twitter on 2/8. Demand for preservation of ESI. It's a preservation notice for electronically stored information. That's from 3/8. Cease and desist and retraction letter, 4/12. And deposition of Victor Mignogna, 6/26. Pursuant to Texas Civil Practice, Texas Rules of Civil Procedure 58, Jamie incorporates and adopts by reference the evidence attached to Defendant Funimation Productions, LLC's motion to dismiss under the TCPA and to Defendant Monica Rial and Ronald Toye's motion to dismiss pursuant to the Texas Citizens Participation Act. So she's just saying, or they're saying that all of the exhibits attached to the other two motions are included and incorporated by any references to them in this document. So you'll see right away, or well, maybe not. If they were to reference any of those exhibits, they would be incorporated into the document. So Jamie is a voice actor and writer who primarily works in the anime industry. The term anime refers to hand-drawn and or computer animation originating from or associated with Japan. In fact, anime is a Japanese word for animation. But outside of Japan, goodness, what is with this? Sam, your writing must be, I'm kidding. But outside of Japan is used to describe animation from Japan or that closely mimics it in style and theme. Plaintiff is one of the most ubiquitous voice actors in the anime genre, credited with over 356 productions on the Internet Movie Database. He's also voiced the title character in Dragon Ball Super Broly, the third highest grossing anime film of all time in the United States. Indeed, plaintiff can hardly walk into an anime convention without being immediately recognized. So these are all lines from the deposition. Ubiquitous means everywhere. Nick's Hex says, obviously Greenberger did it way better, but is it common for lawyers to put stupid word games in the legal documents? I wish it was more common, personally. I find it very funny. In approximately, oh my God. I can't, you guys say have a Red Bull. This is, I'm in a house and this is it. These little waters. This is all I got. I don't have liquor. I don't have soda. I don't have Milos. I don't have juice. I don't have anything. In approximately 2011, Jamie worked as a voice actor for Funimation Productions, LLC. On one occasion while at Funimation's headquarters in Flower Mound, Texas, Jamie was waiting in the lobby when plaintiff Victor Mignogna approached her. Considering that they knew each other, or at least Jamie thought she knew plaintiff. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. And that it is a common greeting among creatives in the anime industry. Jamie gave plaintiff a hug. Okay. We have our first problem. We have our first issue. Did Jamie get consent for that hug? Did Jamie get consent for that hug? I don't think she did. She just argued that because there was an understanding, unstated, between the two people, that she could walk up and give a hug. Oh my God. She should be fired from Funimation immediately. That's against the no hug policy, right? They have a hug box, but no hugs. Samuel Montana says, in the off chance you get deposed, I expect to see you wearing a commander shirt with a good coffee mug of your choice. Oh, we'll see how. We'll see. I doubt I will ever get deposed. In this case, obviously. It's always possible to get deposed. I doubt I will get deposed in this case. I really do. But I hope to God they try. All right, so let's rewrite this sentence appropriately. Considering that they knew each other and that it is a common greeting amongst creatives in the anime industry, this is actually really, really bad, right? It's a common greeting among creatives in the anime industry. It's common. Hugs are common. They're common. Jamie raped plaintiff. That's what it says right there. Common greeting among creatives in the internet and the anime industry is rape. What Jamie did not and could not anticipate was what happened next. Commenting on Jamie's hair, plaintiff began running his hand through the back of Jamie's hair until his palm found the back of her skull. Plaintiff splayed his fingers and moved his hand to the base of Jamie's skull, after which he clenched his hand into a fist, grabbing her hair at the roots and jerked his fist, yanking Jamie's head backwards. Having control of Jamie, plaintiff then pressed his lips to her ear and whispered something sexual to her. Something sexual. That's how you do it. By the way, guys, if you're ever looking for the pro seduction move, you say something sexual. So there we go. Jamie doesn't remember the specific words plaintiff spewed at her that day. A whisper into an ear is not a spew, Sam. That is a literary faux pas. If I'm going to critique your writing, you've got it's not really mismatched metaphors, but you've got evocative language going in opposite directions here, right? Not good. Not good writing. You can fix that. Yeah, I don't even... Spewed is the wrong word. But she very much recalls the way she felt violated, out of control, and intimidated. At all times during plaintiff's assault on Jamie, she did not consent to... she hugged him. She initiated the contact by her own admission. She went in, initiated a close, intimate contact. And then now she's suggesting, and again, this is her version of the story, that she did not consent to nor want such contact as was imposed upon her. Did Vic want it imposed upon him? How do you know? Shocked and stunned by what plaintiff had done to her, Jamie never felt safe at Funimation again when plaintiff was around. Never. Which is why she didn't bring it up forever. Considering that plaintiff was one of the most ubiquitous voices at on the convention circuit, Jamie felt that nobody would even believe her if she told her story, let alone have her career survive. Well, no one believes you, but your career's doing just fine, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how the fans are lining up at your booth. I've seen some evidence that it's not going so well, but Zerianity says these TCPAs are like poorly written erotica. So cringe. Double A says having control of Jamie. Plaintiff then pressed his lips to her ear and whispered, "It's free real estate." There you go. That'll get the nethers tethered. Like countless victims before her, she kept her story to herself as a means of protecting herself from retribution, or worse, further trauma. Ooh. Oh, to any of you ladies out there who have actually been raped or assaulted, I just want you to know that your girl Jamie, she's identifying with you for the trauma, from the trauma of hugging someone without their consent and them reciprocating by touching her hair without her consent. I cannot believe that she admits to initiating the hug. I cannot believe it. That in and of itself, right there. That's great. Texan83 says, so a week or so ago, Funimation tweeted about security footage of Sabat doing stuff at Funimation. If they have cameras and this happened, why did she not report it so they could save the footage? Oh yeah, it didn't go that way. Of course not. Of course not. Rumors about plaintiff had swirled in anime circles for years before Jamie's 2011 encounter. This is only 8 years ago. Only 8 years ago. So much so that plaintiff held a rumor panel at an anime convention years ago to address the various rumors plaguing him for much of his career. And again, asserted their falsity the entire time. At the beginning of 2019, plaintiff's victims started speaking out about the pain plaintiff had wrought upon them. Seeing the hatred and shame plaintiff's followers attempted to hurl at plaintiff victims online, Jamie could no longer stay silent. Just 8 years of watching the victimhood continue, but the pain of people on Twitter. Do they not think, Sam, did you read that sentence to yourself? Did you read it out loud? Okay, let's put this together. Sorry. Rumors had swirled for years, and allegedly traumatic murder assaults happened for the next 8 years after Jamie's event. And she could stay silent through all of that, watching her friends go to work with the rapist, watching young con girls go and get their unconsented kisses on the cheeks and foreheads and their hair tugged and pulled all over the place like some caveman dragging a cave woman off to impregnate her. She could endure all of that. But at the beginning of 2019, plaintiff's victims started speaking out about the pain plaintiff had wrought upon them, and seeing the hatred and shame plaintiff's followers attempted to hurl at the victims online, Jamie could no longer stay silent. These people really do live and die on Twitter. They really do. They live and die on Twitter. On February 8th, 2019, Jamie bravely told the true story of her encounter with plaintiffs so many years before. Several years ago, I was in the lobby at my job when I was approached by a coworker. This guy gave me the creeps already. He gave almost all the women at my job the creeps, but I always felt I had to be nice to him anyway because of how revered he was in the industry. We hug a lot, and on occasion, we'll give a kiss on the cheek. But even for an affectionate environment, this felt off. I didn't say anything to him about it, though. It was just his fingers in my hair. I didn't think it was a big deal. At that point, notice she doesn't say in this account that she initiated contact. That story's different. Why is it different? Why do the stories change every time you tell them, you lying defendants? It was just his fingers in my hair. I didn't think it was a big deal. At that point, he splayed his fingers, put his hand at the base of my skull, and made a fist. When he did this, he grabbed my hair close to the root, effectively preventing me from moving my head at all. He then jerked his fist, yanking my head backwards and towards him, and whispered something in my ear. I don't remember what he said specifically, but I do remember it being sexual in nature. This was not normal. This was not just a hug or a kiss on the cheek. I did not like it. I have no memory of getting out of his grasp, but I assume what the F are you doing was part of my technique. I don't know. I don't know about this story. The full text of Jamie's statement is attached here to as Exhibit A1 and incorporated herein in full by reference. In it, Jamie opens up about the emotions and trauma that accompany such an encounter, while acknowledging that she had a generally less intrusive experience than other women she heard from. Admittedly, she identifies plaintiff by name, but she does so only as a means of reaching out to the uncounted women still reeling in silence from what they've been through and offering them solidarity in their recovery. Solidarity. The public response to Jamie's statement, like many other of plaintiff's victims, has been one of dichotomy. On the one hand, other of plaintiff victims, Jamie's fans and friends, and supporters of women's right to be free from control or invasion by others, have all been outspoken in their support of Jamie and her strength and courage. On the other hand, plaintiff supporters have incited a remorseless revenge campaign aimed at disparaging, demeaning, and further objectifying plaintiff's victims. Let me be clear. No one wants to objectify any of plaintiff's alleged victims. Oh, dear God, that is the last thing on anyone's mind. Unless the object is a ham. Jamie has been harassed online, ridiculed in the most misogynistic of ways, and had her physical safety threatened by plaintiff's fans. Who? Oh, I guess we'll have to check that out in the exhibits. I bet it's going to be that one autistic kid that she said a bunch of racist stuff to, or allegedly said racist stuff to. Or whatever, who asked her at the one panel, who at a panel asked her with a microphone from a distance away. That probably put her in physical safety threat, I guess. Indie Visualist says, my issue with #MeToo is they tell women who are victimized not to go to the cops and instead tell the press years later. Twitter can't investigate crimes years later. Cops must do it when it occurs. Well, you know what happens when someone who lies goes to the cops, right? They actually usually nothing. That's the sad thing. But their lies are at least exposed after someone else's whole life is ruined. That's great. Down Forward Punch says, Vic in a deep voice whispered, thanks for the money, dummies, ack, into Jamie's ear. Oh, okay. There you go. Let's see. Yeah. On March 8th, 2019, says Jamie received from plaintiff a demand that she preserve all electronically stored information and other information relevant to the claims and defenses asserted in this matter. Ironically, though, plaintiff himself allegedly has a policy of immediately deleting his own electronically stored information, has done so even after anticipating litigation in this matter, and also swapped his old iPhone out for a new one just as this litigation was getting started. Well, why didn't you send him a preservation letter? Less than a month later, plaintiff sent Jamie correspondence asking her to correct, clarify, or retract some of her tweets. Yep, that's a statutory requirement. So there you go. These are weird. Sam, the judge knows that both of these are fine. You're allowed to delete your tweets. Absolutely. Your texts, your tweets, your texts, your emails. Until you get an evidence preservation letter, you're actually allowed to do that. Now, you should consult a lawyer in your jurisdiction to find out at just what point when contemplating litigation you need to stop doing that. But, that's between you and your lawyer. But in general, outside of litigation, you have every right to delete whatever you want. And that's not fishy or suspicious or anything. And a negative inference can't be drawn from it. So there you go. Many of the statements complained of by plaintiff in his April 12, 2019 takedown letter to Jamie neither refer to plaintiff nor contain any statements of fact, nor even rise to the level of an actionable publication. Well, we'll have to see. Dates of cited tweets are February 6th, 7th, 7th, and 8th. While some of the cited tweets admittedly contain strongly worded opinion commentary, none are false statements of fact made by plaintiff. Well, that's good, with knowledge of their falsity or reckless disregard of whether or not they were true. Well, I would hope the plaintiff wasn't making false statements of fact. Certainly none were made with malice, only the intent to protect herself and others. That's not how malice works. That's funny. Why isn't that's not the legal definition of actual malice? The sole statement by Jamie that contains any statement of fact referring to plaintiff that is susceptible to truth or falsity was born of her need to tell the truth about what plaintiff did to her. Sure it was. While sworn under oath in his deposition, plaintiff had plainly admitted to assaulting plaintiff in exactly the same manner as described by Jamie in her statement. And these errors, I'm joking about them, but they just happen. They just happen. It really doesn't mean anything, and the judge isn't gonna. The judge will take a pause and look at that line and go, "Oh, okay, he means defendant." All right, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair," and she's like, "I know, I just got it." And I walked around I walked around the counter, and I was kind of standing there, kind of flipping it, like, "Oh my gosh, it's really beautiful. I love it." And I put my hand up in the bottom of it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great." Though the camera veered slightly to the right just before, plaintiff even gestured on camera about how the tight grasp he had over Jamie. By the way, this is not jerking, whispering into an ear. It's not the same thing. That's a lie. You've admitted that there's a different scenario than what the plaintiff said he did. Very different. It makes it very different. This is cute, is different than this. One of them is this. One of them is this. This. Tickle the balls, tug the jet. It's way different. These are vastly different things. And I'm guessing Ty will hammer on that. Plaintiff then had the audacity to interpret how he thought Jamie should have felt. Isn't that what Jamie did with the hug? It was not painful. It was not hurtful. It was not sexual. And it happened at least 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. 8 actually. How dare he? How dare he? How dare he say it wasn't painful or hurtful or sexual? That's actually not interpreting how she felt. That's interpreting what he did. But, well, there we go. If plaintiff objects to Jamie's characterization of the hair pulling incident, his appropriate course of action would be to not have pulled her hair in the first place. Wait a minute. Okay, this is ludicrously stupid. Where is this camera even pointing? This is ludicrously stupid. So, if the plaintiff is going to object to how someone took an event, what he should do is get in a DeLorean and go back in time 9 years to not do the thing that he did 8 years ago that she interpreted in a particular way. So if you're gonna object to how someone characterized something, what you gotta do is actually go back in time and undo it. Like, I guess you go back in time and murder yourself, right? Like, what? Sam, that's a stupid line. That's an impossibility, and the court will know it. The court will know it. How about this? Let's do this characterization instead. If Jamie Marchi didn't want plaintiff, or objects to how plaintiff characterizes playing with her hair, then what Jamie Marchi should have done was avoided plaintiff at the outset, instead of walking up and giving him a hug and saying, "Hey, hon," or whatever it was. So maybe if Marchi wanted to objects to the characterization of plaintiff's versions of the events, then she should have just not initiated the contact. Maybe she shouldn't have gone to work that day, or maybe she shouldn't have worked in anime, or maybe any number of maybes that I can't say on YouTube, even as jokes, because it'd be some sort of thing. No, there's literally an infinite possibility of things that could have happened, and you're suggesting that the plaintiff should go back in time and undo it. Well, why shouldn't the defendant also go back in time and not initiate contact, intimate contact, with the hug? Right? I don't know. This is bolstered by plaintiff's own admission that individuals can perceive the same situation differently. Of course they can. It's ludicrous to assert otherwise. And that Miss Marchi could have perceived her hair being pulled differently than plaintiff did. Of course she could. That doesn't mean he grabbed and yanked her head back towards his face and whispered something sexual into her ear, something he flatly denied in the deposition. You've got a problem here. I know Law Twitter is, again, they're spiking on him saying that he touched her hair. I know Law Twitter thinks that they're in the end zone on this one, but they're not. They're admitting in their TCPA filing that these are two separate events and materially different. One is touched her hair, maybe tugged on it a little bit or something like that. The other is grabbed a fistful of it, jerked her head towards his chest, and whispered into her ear. Thank you for making the case for falsity in your TCPA. That was polite of you. Nothing in this legal action or any other forum can change the fact that what Jamie reported in her statement really happened. I mean, a lot can, actually, and that she has a constitutional right to speak out about it. No, that's not true at all. Vic can say the opposite. The opposite. He can say, I never pulled her close to me. He can say, I never whispered into her ear. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. And that's pretty clear from the deposition, actually. But, whatever. We'll see. We'll see. And it's not a First Amendment right if it's defamation. And second of all, man, those tweets, those other tweets that you say don't directly reference him and all that stuff. We'll see how those go. Applicability of TCPA. Of course it applies. This is speech. It's defamation. It's going to apply. Chapter 27 of the Civil Practice and Remedies Code, also known as the Texas Citizens Participation Act, applies to this action. Purpose is to encourage and safeguard the constitutional rights of persons to speak freely. Date of filing legal action. Plaintiff's lawsuit, which is included in the definition of legal action, was filed on April 18th. TCPA applies to legal actions filed on or after June 17th, 2011. Constitutional rights of free speech and association. This legal action is based on, relates to, or is in response to Jamie's exercise of her right of free speech, a right guaranteed to her under both the First Amendment to the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 8 of the Texas Constitution. The exercise of the right of free speech is defined as a communication made in connection with a matter of public concern. Jamie's constitutional right of free speech is implicated by plaintiff's lawsuit because, among other things, plaintiff is a public figure, and Jamie's complained of statements implicate community well-being and community health and safety. I don't think they actually do on that one. Because she's not alleging that he's running around as a menace pulling women's hair. But anyway, Jamie's statements were thus made in connection with a matter of public concern. Jamie's statements were further protected by her right of association, to which plaintiff's legal action is also in response. Excuse me one moment, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. The 4-year-olds, man. 4-year-olds. I wish I left for firewater. No. Regular, tiny little waters. And yeah. All right, here we go. Where were we? Okay, Jamie's statements were thus made in connection with a matter of public concern. Jamie's statements were further protected by her right of association, to which plaintiff's legal action is also in response. Motion timely filed. Jamie was served with process in this legal action on May 23rd, 2019. This motion is filed not later than the 60th day after the date of service and is therefore timely. Dismissal required by TCPA. Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code 27.005 requires the court to dismiss this legal action if Marchi establishes by preponderance of the evidence that the challenge claims are based on, relate to, or in response to Jamie's exercise of her right of free speech and or right of association, and plaintiff cannot establish by clear and specific evidence a prima facie case for each essential element of those claims. Jamie's statements involved a matter of public concern. Vic is a public figure. In addition to the evidence and arguments stated herein, Jamie incorporates by reference the evidence and arguments in Defendant Funimation Production LLC's motion to dismiss under TCPA and Defendant Monica Rial and Ronald Toye's motion to dismiss under TCPA. Plaintiff cannot in good faith deny that he is a public figure. There are two categories of public figure under the Texas law, status under Texas law: general purpose and limited purpose. General purpose public figures have achieved, quote, such pervasive fame or notoriety that they become public figures for all purposes and in all contexts. WFAA-TV Incorporated versus Macklemore. Limited purpose public figures, however, are public figures merely for a limited range of issues surrounding a particular public controversy. Plaintiff is a general purpose public figure. A public figure is a person with general fame or notoriety in the community. Gertz versus Welch. Among other things, plaintiff testified in his deposition that he has a fan club called the Risen Bull Rangers, who found his notoriety so compelling as to dub him with the title of Führer. That's not actually true. That's not why they did it, and that's not what he said. He said he didn't know why they called him Führer, but it's actually from Full Metal Alchemist. He has been in movies, TV shows, and has voice acted for hundreds of Japanese anime films. He has been a voice actor for almost 20 years and has been repeatedly hired over that time period because somebody must think he's good at what he does. Yeah, somebody being the people who do the hiring. That doesn't make him a public figure. Neither does none of these first three things make him a general purpose public figure. Thousands of convention attendees come to see plaintiff and or meet him. Again, not a general purpose public figure. Because walk down the street and say, who's Vic Mignogna? No one knows. No one knows. Allegations about plaintiff's homophobia, anti-Semitism, and sexual harassment are being discussed publicly. That doesn't make you a general purpose public figure either. The alleged Minnesota attorney who started plaintiff's $250,000 legal war chest reached out to plaintiff without having ever known him before. Yes, that doesn't make him a public figure. I didn't know him. I didn't even know of him. It's amazing. It's amazing. A lot of people have used plaintiff's face and name over the years for their own purposes without plaintiff's involvement. Yeah. Plaintiff has approximately 113,000 Twitter followers. Again, there's a lot of people on Twitter. That's not a lot of followers. Plaintiff also writes music and sings, and anyone who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has likely heard a few of his jingles on the radio. And again, I bet none of them know what those jingles are. Plaintiff is allegedly so popular that he gets invited to conventions multiple times in a row, breaking common practice for most convention invitees. That's because he makes conventions money. I don't think he said he was popular, that's why he did that, but whatever. Either way, there are multiple other citations available, but in the interest of brevity, Jamie is confident that these omissions alone will foreclose any claimed argument by plaintiff that he is not a general purpose public figure. Alternatively, I don't think that there's a good argument for that. I think there's a good argument for a limited purpose public figure. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but I think there's a good argument for it. I'm not an alleged attorney. Did he call me an alleged attorney? He did. Dang it. It's not alleged, man. I got a card. I got a card. It proves it. You can look it up, Sam. The Texas Supreme Court relies on a three-part test in determining whether an individual is a limited purpose public figure. The controversy at issue must be public both in the sense that people are discussing it and people other than the immediate participants in the controversy are likely to feel the impact of its resolution. Check. Plaintiff must have more than a trivial or tangential role in the controversy. Not so sure about that. And then the alleged defamation must be germane to plaintiff's participation in the controversy. That's interesting. The plaintiff's participation in this controversy, I don't know if it passes the sniff test of being... They're not talking about him as a voice actor. That's where his participation is him being a voice actor, right? So if they're talking about critiquing him as being a voice actor, saying, oh, he sucks at voice acting, or he doesn't show up, or something like that. He doesn't do the job. He hires someone else. I don't know. That's the voice acting. The defamation is actually around sexual assault. He only participated in the sexual assault if the defamatory statements are true. This is a weird one. I'm not sure how this argument ends up playing out, but I think there's some possible argument there, because the alleged defamation must be germane to plaintiff's participation in the controversy. Well, if you're going to argue that the plaintiff thrust himself into this controversy by being a voice actor in general and being out there for people to talk about, that's one thing. But if you're going to argue that he thrust himself into the controversy then you have problems with what's being germane to the participation. The other thing would be, if you're going to say that the germane comments relate to the alleged assault, then he didn't participate in that controversy unless the defamatory comments are true. There's case law out there suggesting that the plaintiff can't become a public figure because defendants make them a public figure. Like, they can't become a limited public figure because defendants have created a circumstance to make them a limited purpose public figure. It doesn't work that way. So we'll have to see how this one goes. Alternative to her argument that plaintiff is a general purpose public figure, Jamie argues that plaintiff is a limited purpose public figure. Specifically, one, there's ample evidence in the court's record that multiple people are discussing the statements about plaintiff's abuses. Plaintiff is the center of such controversy, has injected himself directly to it. How? And has far beyond merely a tangential or trivial role therein. And three, the statements of which plaintiff complains are directly germane to plaintiff's participation in the controversy. I don't know about that. See, this is conclusory. This is a poor... this one is not. There's a statement that can be verified by the factual record. Great. This is absolutely conclusory. It doesn't say how he's done any of these things. And then same thing here. This doesn't actually say what he wants it to say. Very strange. Weak argument from Sam on that one. Jamie's statements relate to health, safety, and community well-being. Texas courts recognize when a statement concerns even just an individual's state of safety, the TCPA applies. Not only do Jamie's statements relate to her own state of safety, but she declared at the time making them that her intent was to protect and acknowledge plaintiff's other past and future victims. Palantir says, Sam Johnson is probably assuming you're an alleged attorney in the same way that he's an alleged politician. Is he an alleged politician? Had I been able to speak up then, maybe less women would have had to experience what happened. No, why weren't you able to speak up? Who was stopping you? Was it Sabbath? That's a joke. That's a joke. But in this moment, I want the others to know who I know. The others to who I know are out there to hear this. It wasn't just you. It's okay if you didn't say anything to him or anyone else. You are not responsible for what happened. You do not have to be dismissive, ashamed, or afraid. Also, I hope if anyone ever goes through a similar experience, they will know from the start that their body is not up for debate. It is, though, if you're Vic and you're getting hugged by Jamie. Their body is not property of the most popular person in the room. Their body is not responsible for a company or a show or an art form. Their body is most definitely not responsible for the reputation and livelihood of a predator. Multiple Texas courts have held that statements about mental illness, domestic abuse, murder for hire ploys, and other situational statements were matters of public concern under the TCPA. Not only does Jamie's statement meet this standard inherently, she even stated at the time of publication that her intent was to tell the truth about her own experience and protect other of the plaintiff's victims, whether past or future. One struggles to think of a statement better classified as to relating to health, safety, and community well-being. The court's record is replete with accounts of plaintiff engaging in the same or worse behavior directed at other women. See, that's actually, again, this is so what's surprising here. These two statements are so weak especially compared to this section here, where he lists the statements, he lists authority as to why those statements match up. He lays out very clearly how it happens. The other one, he doesn't. TCPA ultimately applies because Jamie's complaint of statements are protected by her right of free speech. TCPA defines that right as any communication made in connection with a matter of public concern. As established above, TCPA is irrefutably applicable to plaintiff's legal action. She was exercising her right of association. Court must also dismiss plaintiff's legal action because it is based on, relates to, or is in response to Jamie's exercise of a right of free association. The exercise of free association is defined in the TCPA as a communication between individuals who join together to collectively express, promote, pursue, or defend common interests. Texas courts broadly construe the TCPA's reference to communications between individuals joining together to express, promote, or defend common interests. Again, Jamie's statements were made in the exercise of her association with the broader anime community, fan community, and women who may, in the past or future, come into contact with plaintiff. Jamie evinced this most strongly by sounding her call of empathy to plaintiff's prior victims and to those who may come after her. I think she means come later in time, not come after her like chasing. Plaintiff cannot provide clear and specific evidence for each essential element of his claims against Jamie. All right, let's check that. Jamie has met her burden to show by a preponderance of evidence that the TCPA applies to this legal action. I agree. Of course it does. Burden now shifts to plaintiff to establish by clear and specific evidence a prima facie case for each essential element of the claims in question. Plaintiff's burden is far more than the simple notice pleading initially required in a Texas lawsuit. Instead, plaintiff must provide enough details to show the factual basis for each element of his claims. Plaintiff does not have a clear and specific evidence for his defamation claim against Jamie. Or so the defendant thought. The elements of a defamation claim in Texas are well established. In order to survive this motion, plaintiff must put forth clear and specific evidence that Jamie published a statement of fact, statement referred to plaintiff, the statement was defamatory, the statement was false. With regard to the truth of the statement, Jamie was acting with actual malice if plaintiff is a public figure, or negligently if plaintiff is a private individual, and the statement caused plaintiff pecuniary injury. Because plaintiff is clearly a public figure, he must show that Jamie acted with actual malice. Court's record is rife with plaintiff's own admissions that he lacks evidence of more than one statement that even contains a statement of fact referring to him. Here we go. That again, the deposition of a lay person testifying to whether something is a statement of fact or opinion is, I mean, I guess it's mildly persuasive, but it's not in any way dispositive. The only statement in the record that actually contains a statement about a fact about plaintiff is the one in which, Jamie outcries with the truth about what plaintiff did to her. Except for the one where she calls him a predator, right up above. A statement that is conspicuously missing from plaintiff's original and amended petitions. However, plaintiff admitted to the truth of it's not conspicuously missing. They're not required to show it. Plaintiff admitted to the truth of Jamie's statement in his deposition. At a minimum, plaintiff is unable to summon clear and specific evidence of the falsity of any of Jamie's statements. Why is he arguing this? Hey guys, I have a question for you. Why would Sam argue this? He doesn't have to, according to Law Twitter. Doesn't have to argue about the falsity of the statements. Plaintiff will also be unable to put forth clear and specific evidence that Jamie acted with malice. Her own statement, before involvement of counsel, in which she wrote wholly on her own, clarifies that her intent was to protect herself and the public at large and for no other reason. Well, that's not how malice works. Weird. Finally, plaintiff's claim that any damages were caused by Jamie is respectfully ludicrous. Plaintiff confirmed that Jamie's name was never mentioned by Funimation when it was conducting the investigation, which led to termination of his contract. Plaintiff also testified in his deposition that Jamie's statements couldn't have impacted termination of his contracts with conventions before the statements were published. Plaintiff is unable to cite to any conventions canceled after the date of Jamie's statements and admits that he knows of no conventions that Jamie even reached out to. As of his deposition, plaintiff was on track for his typical annual number of convention appearances, having already appeared in 9 and professing attendance at 20 to 30 in any given year, except that he's not booked for the next 11 to 21 of those. So that's disingenuous. In short, other than allegedly hurt feelings, well, no, reputational damage, emotional damage, Both of those are real. Both of those are actually products of defamation, and both of those are, can be recompensed by the court. More likely, disbelief at the resolve of his former victims. Plaintiff has incurred no damages. Oh, that's not true. Again, you're alleging criminal acts here. Plaintiff has incurred no damages as a result of any statement made or allegedly made by Jamie, thus he cannot proffer clear and specific evidence of any. Plaintiff does not have clear and specific evidence for his claim against Jamie for tortious interference with existing contracts. In order to survive this motion, plaintiff must put forth clear and specific evidence that plaintiff had a valid contract, Jamie willfully and intentionally interfered with the contract, Jamie's interference proximately caused plaintiff's alleged injury, and plaintiff incurred actual damage or loss. Jamie incorporates her arguments and citations in paragraph 28 above. I think actually this one may be correct, right? I don't know. I haven't seen evidence of Jamie doing TI specifically with an existing contract. So I think that this one, maybe. Plaintiff does not have clear and specific evidence for his claims for tortious interference with prospective relations. This one actually I think is got to be untrue. Plaintiff must prove with clear and specific evidence that there was a reasonable probability that he would have entered into a business relationship with a third person. Well, considering you've admitted to it in this document, you've said that he's well on his way to his annual average of 20 to 30 conventions because he's attended 9. So you're saying that he would have at least 11 to 21 more encounters. So I think he can show that that's a likely outcome. Jamie intentionally interfered with the relationship. Yeah, I think she did. And I think there are statements that back that up. Stuff like where she said, good, he was fired, or he needs to go away, stuff like that. Jamie's conduct was independently tortious or unlawful. If it's linked to defamatory statements, then there you go. Jamie's interference proximately caused plaintiff's alleged injury. And plaintiff suffered actual damage or loss in order to sustain his claim for Jamie's tortious interference with prospective relations. Jamie incorporates her arguments and citations in paragraph 21 above, or 28 above. I think, obviously, these two seem to apply much more to Ron and Monica and probably Funimation than Jamie. But I think they could maybe still make the claim on this one. This one's hard. This one is very difficult because I haven't seen a lot of information suggesting that Jamie Marchi was, causing Vic to not be involved in any conventions. Unless there's a civil conspiracy, that'd be different. Okay, so here's a civil conspiracy. In order to survive this motion, plaintiff must put forth clear and specific evidence that Jamie was a member of a combination of 2 or more persons. The object of combination was to accomplish either an unlawful purpose or a lawful purpose by unlawful means. I mean, maybe there's evidence of that. She was kind of in that Discord server. She perpetuated in the she perpetuated the assertion that her husband and Ron, or her fiance and Ron Toye, were executives at Funimation. So maybe she is involved there. I think there's evidence of that. And the members had a meeting of the minds on the object or course of action. Well, prima facie case, Discord server hits that one. One of the members committed an unlawful overt act to further the object or course of action. Well, I mean, wasn't she in that Discord server was Manjaw in that Discord server? That'd be interesting. Or Shane. And plaintiff suffered injury as a proximate result of the wrongful act. Finding no reasonable guess as to the actual basis for this claim asserted by plaintiff, Jamie looks to plaintiff's live petition for guidance, but finds none there. Suffice it to say that plaintiff can neither conjure a good faith argument, let alone produce clear and specific evidence of each element of his unfounded claim for civil conspiracy. Moreover, Jamie again incorporates her argument and citations in paragraph 28 above. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what they come up with for these claims. Request for attorney's fees and sanctions. Jamie is entitled to recover an award of sanctions, costs, reasonable attorney's fees, and other expenses incurred in conjunction with the dismissal. An award of attorney's fees to a successful movement is mandatory under TCPA, and Jamie is entitled to her other expenses under principles of justice and equity. Moreover, the court must also award sanctions in order to deter other similar actions where attempts are made to intimidate brave victims into silence when they have taken the forthright step of speaking out about what happened to them. Particularly where a $250,000 war chest has been gathered from other people to pay his legal expenses, plaintiff has no reason to avoid specious lawsuits in the future without learning his lesson in this one. Stay of discovery. Oh, so she was in there with Shane, Emmett, and Pridemore? Oh man, that's unfortunate. Pursuant to their all discovery in this legal action is stayed until the court has ruled on the motion to dismiss. Conclusion. Here's Sam's funny. We'll highlight it. G-O. Gone are the days when aggressors could intimidate their victims into silence. Of the various rights afforded under the Constitution, the rights of free speech and association are certainly the dearest. A. And despite this, plaintiff has seen fit to bully his victims by his abuse of this court's jurisdiction. W. When the Texas legislature adopted the TCPA, it was precisely with legal action such as plaintiffs in mind, stopping them in particular. A. After reviewing the evidentiary record on file and the briefing based on the same, this court must dismiss plaintiff's actions and claims against Jamie for reasons plaintiff was likely aware of well before his filing. Why? Yet plaintiff has continued his harm by forcing Jamie and the other defendants to defend his dubious claims even this far. No more. N-I. It is incumbent upon this court to find the TCPA applicable, that plaintiff could not meet his burden thereunder, and to dismiss plaintiff's claim accordingly. C. Costs, attorney's fees, and sanctions must also be assessed against plaintiff in favor of Jamie as requested herein and as mandated by the TCPA. K. Key to granting such relief, perhaps more than anything else, is the truth and intent of Jamie's statements, which are as undeniable as they are instructive. So, of course, it's an acrostic. It says, "Go away, Nick." Dun, dun, dun. This doesn't make me mad or sad in the slightest. This makes me very happy. Thank you, Sam. I'm flattered. Wherefore, Jamie Marchi requests that this court expedite the hearing of this motion, dismiss with prejudice the plaintiff's claims as specified in this motion, and award sanctions, costs, and attorney's fees with respect to the challenge claims as to defendant Jamie Marchi. Show the GoFundMe war chest. Yes, I do. I need to do that. They mentioned the GoFundMe war chest. Here it is. We're at $233,105, and the first name that's visible is Connor Yanatani. So thank you, Connor. Thank you to the anonymous donors as well. But we are at $233,105. You know, he did say it was $250,000. That's clearly not correct. We're not quite there yet. So, the best acrostic in a legal document, though, was done by Jordan Greenberger. Sam, if you happen to see this, look it up. I did a video on it. It was in the lawsuit. I can't remember where it was, but man, it's better than yours. It's funnier. Yours is good, though. Yours is good. This paragraph's a little grandstandy and a little bit exceptional, but I get why you did it. So let's take a little gander at these exhibits. See how we're doing. Declaration of Jamie Marchi. All right. Pursuant to Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code 132.001, Jamie Marchi, defendant in the above styled and number case, hereby states as follows. My name is Jamie Marchi. I'm an adult over the age of 18 years and am physically and mentally competent to testify to the matters set forth in this declaration. I'm a voice actor and writer, primarily in the anime industry. In approximately 2011, I was in the lobby of Funimation Production LLC's building, where I was a voice actor at the time. I saw plaintiff Victor Mignogna and said hello. Plaintiff walked over to me and we gave each other a hug, which is a relatively common greeting among voice actors who've worked together before. An uncommon greeting, though, is what plaintiff did next. While still standing in the Funimation lobby, plaintiff started running his fingers through my hair. This behavior made me uncomfortable. But I did not object verbally because I thought it would end as quickly as it began. When plaintiff's hands reached the roots of my hair across the back of my head, he splayed his fingers and moved his hand to the base of my skull, then clenched his hand into a fist. In so doing, plaintiff grabbed my hair close to the root and then jerked his fist, which abruptly, unexpectedly, and painfully yanked my head backwards. Plaintiff then leaned slightly in, having already taken control of my head, and pressed his lips to my ear before whispering a sexual statement to me. I do not recall the specific words he said, but I know with certainty they were of a sexual nature directed at me. I felt helpless, out of control of my own body, and grossly intimidated by plaintiff's unwanted and uninvited contact and words imposed upon me. After escaping his grasp, why didn't you say how you escaped, Jamie? I was shocked and stunned by what had just happened. I felt unsafe at my own workplace. I nevertheless dismissed the experience without reporting it to Funimation. Okay. It's a little different from your public statement, where you said that you shoved him off. You must have shoved him off and said, "Get the F off me," or whatever. Let's see. Plaintiff is widely known in the anime world, has a loyal and broad following of fans, and on top of that, he was one of the most ubiquitous. Man, they like that word, don't they? Voice actors, and they would say popular. Ubiquitous doesn't mean popularity. Like death is ubiquitous. People don't necessarily like it. AIDS is ubiquitous in some countries. Herpes is ubiquitous on college campuses. People don't necessarily like these things. Exceptionalism is ubiquitous amongst the defendants. So is cuckoldry. They're not good, right? I did not feel that I could go up against plaintiff with a wide public persona and vast fan base and still have my career survive. In early 2019, women began coming out with the truths about their various experiences with plaintiff. How do you know their truth? Something that I'd heard or read for many years before from various women. Where? I realized then that my experience was not unique, and I made the brave decision to publicly state the truth about what plaintiff did to me. I thus wrote a statement via Twitter on February 8th so that other women who are victims of plaintiff or other aggressors would know they are not alone. They can stand up for themselves and speak out, and to confirm for all of us that our bodies are our own, and only we can decide what is done with them. A true and correct copy of my Twitter statement is attached here too is Exhibit A1. Imagine the fantasy these people have. I made my statement so that everyone, the entire earth, all of them could know that they could stand up, that they could do it. People would stand with them. It would not be owned by it. It's like the most dramatic thing ever that they've done here. They've saved the West or whatever. They've done it with a speech on like a battleship or something. I was the only author of my statement. I still believe it was important to post as a means of showing solidarity and empathy with plaintiffs and other aggressors' victims. Since telling the truth about what plaintiff did to me, I've been harassed, threatened, and lambasted by an army of in-person and online trolls at plaintiff's and his attorney's bidding. Not true. Not true at all. Despite the danger to my life and my family, I am steadfast in the need to speak the truth. I have not made these statements out of malice or any desire to hurt plaintiff. I admittedly felt and still feel anger towards plaintiff and hurt at what he made me endure. And I hope his life experiences will teach him to behave differently. That's not what you said earlier, sweetie. But my intent in my outcry was always to provide an opportunity for healing and encouragement, for bravery for both myself and other victims. Scoop says, I can't remember if it was making fun of Maddox or dog bite in the lull suit. E for effort on the go away, Nick. Oh, gosh. Cerulean Voice says, love how over the course of the months that this has been going on, there's a consistent theme of the GoFundMe dollar amount increasing with almost every new major submission of documents. Wonder if jurors will pick up on it. Archangel Nishan says, just added another donation to the GoFundMe, trying to help as I can and hope Vic gets back to doing what he loves. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I did not communicate with Funimation Productions LLC regarding plaintiff while it was investigating allegations about his conduct prior to terminating his contract. Did Jamie tweet about the investigation? That'd be interesting. Likewise, I did not reach out to any convention or other production company to discuss plaintiff or encourage either expressly or implicitly to reduce or terminate their business dealings with him as a result of the allegations against him. Attached here too as exhibits A2 and A3 are true and correct copies of correspondence I received from plaintiff. My name is Jamie Marchi. My date of birth is October 8th, 1977. Oh, well. And my address is 9411 Timberleaf Drive, Dallas, Texas, USA. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. I mean, I guess that's been stated before, but I actually would have removed that if I had read it. But c'est la vie. Jamie Marchi. I stand with the victims. My experience is minor in comparison to many others. However, having realized this wasn't an isolated incident, I felt compelled to share. Having realized what happened, I changed my mind. Several years ago, okay, we've read this. So let's see what else there is. Oh, God. Oh, good job, Sam. What is this? Bumping up the page count. So here's the demand for preservation of electronically stored information. I don't want to read this. Do you guys want to read these? I'll leave them up. You can screenshot them or whatever and go. Please note, litigation is reasonably likely. Accordingly, you have a duty, even without a court order, to preserve information that is relevant to the potential dispute over termination of Vic's relationship. Funimation and Rooster Teeth and damage to his reputation and career, including without limitation, information regarding blah, 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 blah. So here's the next one. I mean, of course, you guys have this. Like, you have these documents. They're publicly available. Legal Eagle would not read it. That's an absolute lie. That's an absolute lie. Here we go. Here we go. Anime Chris says, Nick, you must be honored. Not only is the GoFundMe the most popular Kick Vic topic, Fatso is copying your joke, and now they are sending you a secret code telling you to go away. That must make you a public figure, but not a real lawyer. I am likely, very likely, a limited purpose public figure in regards to this lawsuit. Absolutely. Absolutely. As would be defendants, right? They thrust themselves into it. I thrust myself into it. The only person who didn't is Vic. He stayed very, very quiet. So, yeah. Here we go. Here's mail and email. So this is the TCPR, Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code. This is the Texas Defamation Mitigation Act. So the request for retraction. So we'll read this one. As you're aware, my firm, Beard Harris Bullock Hughes, has been retained to represent Vic Mignogna regarding false, misleading, and unsubstantiated statements about him represented as fact. This is a demand specifically relating to the publication of status posts and tweets via your personal social media accounts, including at Ron Toye, containing statements that defame Mr. Mignogna. That was I think they said in deposition that was a typo. That's an error, and these are for Marky Mark or whatever. Bullet list below sets forth examples of your online statements that defame Mr. Mignogna. On February 6th, you stated, yes, I want his head, I want his balls, I want him to feel an ounce of the pain he's caused others and then effing choke on it. I want you to take his dick out of your ears so you can actually hear reality. But you know, that's just me. The statement is not only defamatory and false, but purely malicious. You have not personally witnessed any of the alleged incidents that you claim Mr. Mignogna committed to cause pain to others. You imply he has committed some type of criminal offense worthy of castration, yet have zero facts to validate what led to this threatening, hateful tweet you made towards another human being. Twitter statement on February 8th, where you told your story is attached due to the lengthy nature of this tweet. Defamatory parts of this tweet include the statement that he gave almost all the women at my job the creeps. Clearly false, as he had been working at this company for 15 years and had friends. Claim that he whispered something sexual in nature to you is purely fantasy and is false because you can't remember what he said. You imply that he yanked your head backwards, which implicates he committed some type of crime, and as you put it, his actions qualify as simple assault. You emphatically state that he committed a crime which is defamatory and false. You indicate half a dozen women you personally know came forward with accounts, yet you never witnessed a single account personally to be able to comment, which means this statement was false. Also, I don't know that half a dozen women have come forward, maybe at this point, maybe. Furthermore, you call Mr. Mignana a predator. This is defamatory and false because there has never been a criminal action against Mr. Mignana where a court determined that he was a predator to anyone. It just implies he is the worst kind of criminal, and he clearly, as evidenced by thousands of fans who respect and admire him, is not the truth. So there you go. February 7th, you tweeted, "What would Jesus do? Light him on fire and send him to hell." The statement, besides being blasphemous, is defamatory and it too is false. There's not a single place in the Bible where Jesus states that he would light someone on fire and send them to hell. Jesus spread the message of love for everyone, not vindictiveness and defamation. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. The Twitter statement in the same thread as the previous tweet state, fighting back does not in any way, shape, or form make me as bad as Vic. This statement is defamatory and false because Mr. Mignana is not a bad person. You imply that he's a bad person akin to a criminal. So they're clearly trying to link up these two statements with the others. Clearly trying to do that. These specific statements published by you are defamatory because they allege Mr. Mignana has committed sexual assault and is a sexual predator. And they go so far. So this is part of the Defamation Mitigation Act that where if it's not obvious from the face of the statement why it's defamatory, you have to give the implied meaning. So that's what they're doing. Alleged that Mr. Mignana has committed sexual assault and is a sexual predator. Goes so far as to endorse these allegations as being based on truth, even though no inquiry was ever made into the truth or falsity of those allegations in a forum designed to seek the truth. This campaign that you are championing against Mr. Mignana has resulted in loss of employment by him and having numerous conventions cancel their appearances. Demand is made that you immediately cease disparaging and defaming Mr. Mignana to anyone in any manner. Further demand is hereby made that you immediately remove any defamatory or disparaging comments posted anywhere on the internet, including Twitter, Facebook, the ANN website, Tumblr, and YouTube, to include all Twitter posts attached to this letter. Demand is further made that you publish a retraction of these defamatory statements. Please be aware that he takes this matter very seriously, and failure to immediately comply with this demand will result in a lawsuit. Mr. Mignana will use any and all means available to him under the law or in equity to protect his rights. This includes, but is not limited to, seeking the recovery of actual monetary damages and punitive damages suffered as a result of the canceled conventions, contracts, future contracts, and loss of earnings. Based upon what currently exists, we believe that Mr. Mignana's claims against you individually for defamation, defamation per se, tortious interference with contract, business disparagement, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. You are under a continuing obligation to preserve the requested data related to Vic Mignana that exists or may come into the existence after the date of this letter. Thank you for your attention, blah, 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 blah. There's that. So here's the head and balls tweet. Head and balls. Like head and shoulders, but head and balls. Here's this one. They've highlighted that he gave almost all the women. He was the one and only Vic Mignana. His actions qualify as simple assault. Why would people believe me over a man who holds Bible studies in his hotel lobbies? Half a dozen other women that I personally know. Unable to get out of Vic's grasp. And then here's a predator line. Let's see. So it's time to get angry. It's time to stand up. It's time to let our rage motivate us into making a change. Fighting back does not in any way, shape, or form make me as bad as Vic. Logic is why 1 out of 3 victims come forward. Okay, Exhibit B, deposition of Vic. Did they release all of this? Beard and Lemoyne. So that's the Führer line. Oh, that's lovely. This is all the public figure stuff. This is boring. Here we go. More Lemoyne. Ugh. Still Lemoyne. Oh, God. Sam, where are you at? Where are you at? I want to get to Sam Johnson's thing. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait, that's Lemoyne again. Ah. So here, let's read Vic's statement. She mischaracterizes my memory of the event with Jamie was that I had come into the record one day at Funimation. I was in the lobby and she was there. She had just changed her hair somehow. She was wearing it differently, or she'd cut it somehow, probably as far away as I am from Casey. And she said, "Hey, hon." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair." And she's like, "I know, I just got it." And I walked around the counter and I was kind of standing there, kind of flipping it like, "Oh my gosh, it's really beautiful. I love it." And I put my hand up in the bottom of it and I'm like, "Oh, this is great." It was not painful. It was not hurtful. It was not sexual. And it happened at least 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. If I may say, I saw Jamie in the lobby at Funimation in January this year, literally a week to 10 days before the social media thing started. And she's like, "Hey, hon," and went over and hugged her and said hello. She and I have had, as far as I've known, a very casual, friendly relationship for many, many years. And I was astounded by her account online. And the account online is that you pulled her hair, and that I pulled her hair, and that I whispered something sexual in her ear, which absolutely is not true. I have not ever had any sexual interest in Jamie. Miss Marchi certainly wouldn't be the first woman whose hair you've pulled. No, we've established that. But I would take issue with the word pulling hair. It sounds like something you do in a fight with somebody, and that is not the intent ever, nor do I believe they took it that way at the time. So again, he's challenging the pulling. He's challenging the sexual words. Let's see. And then, well, that's all that. Back to Lemoyne. All right. Well, I think that's about it from the deposition that I want to deal with. I mean, you guys you've seen the deposition, so that's that. That's that. So again, Law Twitter suggests that because he mentioned that he touched her hair, even though it's a completely different factual scenario than what she provided, that somehow is an admission that he did what she said she did, or she said he did. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. The interesting thing, of course, is the actual malice bit on a first-hand account. How do you give a first-hand account without knowledge of the falsity? So that'll be interesting. I think that's pretty obvious. And then the circumstantial evidence will support that, I think, with her motivations. And again, that statement that, man, we don't have anything, it would be really helpful if some underage minor were to be assaulted or whatever. God, that is the worst. That is so gross. Ugh. Oh, and all those statements, there are other statements, right? Where Jamie Marchi says that she doesn't believe other people who claim to be victims. Man, that's going to really put a damper on that stupid soapbox speech, isn't it? I'm here to stand up for all victims. I was a victim and I don't like you. Not standing up for you. Well, I guess we'll see. We got to wait for Ty to file that TCPA response. Many of you have asked me when that's coming. I don't know. Oh, God, just a second. I don't know when that's coming. The TCPA is weird. It doesn't give clear deadlines for this stuff. We know that he's got to respond to Funimations prior to the 8th. I guess it's the 8th of August, whenever their hearing is in August. So he's got to respond prior to that to Funimations. Marchi and Real Toye have not set a date yet. So we don't know when specifically he needs to respond to those. But I'm guessing that they're going to try and they'll have to respond to them soon. Technically, excuse me. I think any party could give him 3 days notice under the Texas rules if they could get a court date. So they could, in theory, they could get a court date right away and force them to compile their answers as fast as possible. Now, they could probably object to the hearing and the judge might say, okay, that's a little fast, but maybe not. I mean, it's within the rules. That's what I'm saying. So we'll see. We got to see when a hearing will be set. The longest is we should have an answer 90 days from filing of the TCPA. That's the rule. Absent a stay by the court or some extension of time by the court, and that has to be with good cause. So maybe extending the discovery or something like that. But generally speaking, they've got 90 days from the date that the TCPA is filed. They've got 60 days to have the hearing, and then 30 days after that for the judge to rule on it. If he goes over it, it's bad news. So, all right, I'm going to do these. I'm going to do the super chats that are still here, that are left. And then I think I'm going to call it a night. It'll probably be a little early tonight. I've been driving for days and I'm really tired. So, I'll probably wrap it up a little early tonight. And then, tomorrow we will have, we'll have another show. Things will progress on. I'm not sure what tomorrow's show will be yet, but, there's lots to talk about. So we'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. If you're going to buzz out now, thank you for watching the show. Otherwise, I'm going to go through and hit these chats and address all of them. And then we'll close it down for tonight. So thank you guys for... Oh, gosh. It's really... I'm not in my house. So hot everywhere else on Earth. Okay. Unknown Watcher says, greetings, Lord Inquisitor. I hope the heresy is low where you are. Oh, the heresy is low wherever I am. Has to be. Fluffy Side Up says, today made 1 year since my dad passed away. The week leading up to this has been very hard. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being you. Your streams and content help keep my sanity through the week. Keep being amazing, Nick. Hey, buddy, that's tough times, and my heart goes out to you. I hope things cheer up as the week passes, and remember the good things about your dad. Night of Hopex says, laws for the law god, cucks for the cuck throne, drink thy tiny water, Captain Niconius, drink thy tiny water and bathe in the tears of the Twitterborn. Their balls are rocked, their water tainted, and their blue check marks shall not rise again. Huzzah. I think it should be their jocks are shocked, right? Tybeard's cat says, Jay Sean Lemoyne saying con slut has become my favorite new aesthetic. Is Jesse Pridemore a con slut? Asking for a friend. Ara says, Boomeroo, her name is pronounced closer to Akeno. But who is the true boomer? You. Or the one tossing money at you? Oh, that's a good question. Either way, thanks for the small weeb celebration for my waifu. Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. Redacted says, Nick, RE the guys complaining about your insults. I want you to know that I will drop you if you ever cuck out, and I suspect much of your core audience feel the same. To the cucks, if you don't like it, please go watch CNN or some other sanitized crap. Well, as I politely recited to the person who sent me the email, there are very few people in my life, and I let them very specifically have influence over what I do and say. So typically it's not... Well, clearly it's through super chats. That's a joke. No, I mean the nature of my speech and how and self-censorship and all that stuff. Very, very few people have any sort of leverage over me on that, and those are people that I choose. And unfortunately, for some people, that will not be an anonymous person on the internet. But I always appreciate the criticism. So, Asphyxiation says, I want to dress Lacey Green up in a focus camp outfit and come all over her Khazar milkers. Oh, all right, buddy. Everybody needs goals. Ben Cheever says, how does GoFundMe refund money from people who donated before if it's already in the IOLTA account or whatever the acronym is? Do they pull it from money from others inside the account? What happens if they need to pull out more than what's in the GoFundMe? That is part of the mystery that GoFundMe would have to go ahead and answer. I don't know, but I have a suspicion of how it works. Okay. I suspect they freeze some stuff and then they pull and refund old money as new money comes in. That's what I think they might do, but I don't know that. That's my suspicion, which I think is a little bit slimy in my opinion, but you know, like I said, the GoFundMe is doing great and really, you know, they were, as much as I'm not a big fan of the policy, they have done pretty well by us and it's still growing. So there you go. Books, Games, Pottery says, Nick, you're not supposed to make Jamie's story sound sexy. How dare you? LMAO. Kay says, stayed up till 1 a.m. to watch a ball game in San Francisco and ended up regretting it. At least you're on. Keep up the good work, Nick. Hope you get to go home soon. You're not getting bomb threats or anything. No. This trip that I'm on right now has been planned for a very, very long time. At least a year. So, no, this is, I'm not getting bomb threats or anything like that. No, don't worry about me. I'm good. Kay says, is it really possible for Monica and Ron to seize the GoFundMe assets for their legal defense? No. You've made fun of it, but haven't totally dismissed it. And the thought that something like that can even happen enrages me. No, they can't. First of all, the funds aren't at GoFundMe largely. I mean, a small amount of funds that haven't transferred over yet, because, you know, money comes in every day and then it sweeps over and money comes in and sweeps over. So a small amount of funds will be at GoFundMe at any given time. The rest of that is going to the Beard, Harris, Bullock and Hughes IOLTA account. And the judge is not going to be able to get that money from them, right? Can't order that type of relief. And he can't really order GoFundMe, who he doesn't have jurisdiction over, to divulge the money anyway. So what they were probably going to try and do is get some sort of order. If I had to guess, they're going to try and get some sort of order and then try and put some sort of garnishment on GoFundMe, releasing the funds to Vic, where they get paid out of that release and it doesn't go to Vic. But unfortunately for them, that's not how it's set up and that's not how it works. And they would know that if they did even a tiny amount of research into it. Trashtown TV says, kind of glad to see you ending the stream early. I was about to send a chat earlier suggesting that just when you started yawning a lot. Please get some rest, guy. You deserve it. Oh, I'm good. It's mostly the narcolepsy doing the yawning, and you talking about it, I'm choking them down. I'm not yawning. I'm definitely not yawning. Okay. Jay says, from what I've heard about Funimation's work environment, people are more than just affectionate at times. Yeah, there's probably some more to come on that Funimation work environment thing in the near future. Ron Soye's post-op finger penis says, yeah, Monica said I've been a good sheepdog, so here's a little bit of that sweet, sweet soy sauce you've been waiting for. Oh, God. That's gross. Hated 7 Days to Die says, assuming using the DeLorean would have stopped that story from creeping up as a 100% fabricated event/lie. Yes, correct. Fighting Slug says, can you show off that chair? Not easily. Maybe in a minute. Dread Clown says, Nick is out of town getting treatment for his rapid onset giantism. Those are normal sized water bottles. Also, did you see the Ralph retort with Mumkey's mistress and her many exes where at least 3 people admitted to crimes? No, I didn't. Mumkey's situation is turning into even more of a disaster by the minute. Joel Navarro says, hey, Nick, can you check out this link? It's a blog post about text depositions and civil procedure. Not now. Hated 7 Days to Die says, thank you for reading stuff from BHBH after all this BS filed by the other side. Oh, you're welcome. Cypop says, every time I listen to Fake by Five Finger Death Punch, I can't help but envision either Nick or Ty singing the song while pointing at Kick Vic. Chris the Geek Bowman says, the depositions by Ron Toye and Monica Rial and the affidavit by Jamie Marchi are full of lies. How embarrassing. And Off to Bed says, I was abused as a child by my caretaker. The fact that they equate what I went through with hair pulling or just went with it is infuriating. I was a child with little sisters to protect and told before he went for them. What is this Etch's excuse? Good job, Nick. That is, of course, the tragedy. The tragedy of the false report is the people who really endured pain, right? And that they will take a fake story or a revised story, and they will make it out to be protecting some alleged victim. That they're standing up for victims with their experiences, and it's like your experience is what? Okay, Cesario JPN says, please keep these MS Paint thumbnails. They make the whole clown world mess of this lawsuit more bearable and are funny as hell. I mean, kind of. I like them. But, you know, my thumbnail guy does a good job, and he gives me a consistent look and aesthetic that helps with metrics in a weird way. It just does. Tim Forsyth and Eric Harrison, thanks for donations. Talons here says, at what point is it anticipated that Ron and Monica will have to be addressed as separate parties? I mean, now. They're already separate parties. That they're filing as one is weird. Weird. Very weird. Currently, they're assumed as a single party. Waived, I think. They've probably waived the apparent conflict on their own end, which is up to them. But they're not assumed as a single party by anybody. The fact that they're writing it as a single party is very, very weird. But will it be during the hearings? Oh, I imagine it'll come out in the filing for this TCPA and the hearings for the TCPA, reminding the court that they are separate entities. They don't share any marital privilege. Guns Down in Hale says, you going on the Duck Show with Andy Signor? Nice. Well, I want to go on the Dick Show. It's on Sunday, and I'm going to be in an event this weekend. I'll have to see what I can do. I want to. So I'm going to try. Joseph Bardsley says, first time tuning in live. Love the continued support for Vic. For the life of me, I don't think I will ever get Rial's Neanderthal grimace from my mind. Skaki Onsai says, early and filled with yeet. Diamondback DT says, all hail our Tard Wrangler King. May you continue being a competent lawyer and never a super ick or serious yawn. 1. Here's my super chat, Cherry. Thank you. Please continue with legal truth education. Gladly. Spectrum Blast Gaming, thank you for the donation. Bad Vibe says, what did you do to your eyebrow? I don't even know. It's the sun, probably. I don't know. Heat. I'm allergic to heat. I'm literally allergic to it. Telling you. Solo Beverly says, series idea, where in the world is Nick Rekieta? Traveling too much. Panja Mizzy says, enlighten me because I know nothing. Does Vic continue to earn anything from the Broly movie even though he got fired from Funimation? Like, do VAs get royalties for use of their voices? In anime? No. They don't. They don't get royalties. American animation, yes. So original stuff, I mean, sometimes. I don't think Rooster Teeth does, but like My Little Pony and stuff like that, yeah, they have royalties. They have union contracts that do that. Anime? No, not at all. Kakalotuzaru says, hey, Nick, before this, never thought I'd follow a lawyer, but you've grown so much on me that every time I play Game Dev Tycoon, among the games I make, there's one about a law that I title Nick Rekieta Drunk Attorney. Hey, good. Thank you. Another Russian bot says, enjoy free YouTube money. I always do. Cyrus Lightshard says, using my premium super chat to say safe travels. Hey, thank you. Pingus Pounders, thanks for the donation. Asia Frazier says, Nick is traveling, therefore he did go away, lol. Well, I'm kind of closer, though. Play More, thanks for donations. Jonathan Zizzer says, early and very masculine. You're doing yeoman's work, rackets. Also just ordered a Ridge wallet the other day and it shipped out today. Can't wait. Hey, good. I'm glad. Thank you. No One Important says, did you get that hidden message? Go away, Nick, in the papers? These people for real? Yeah, of course they're for real. And again, it's good fun. They can do that all they want. Forever229 says, no, guys, it's a trap. Angles are deceptive. No Clue says, on a scale of 1 to Shane, how relevant is Renfamous? Wait, 1 to Shane. So that's a negative chart? I mean, Shane levels? Shane? I don't know. She's too busy jerking off chuds all day, so I don't know what she does. M says, hashtag Chuck is not a cuck. Grim Scout says, hey, Nick, have you ever played Battletech? I mean, no. Mech Warrior, yeah. But not the Battletech pen and paper, no. Matt or like a tabletop. Matthew Needig says, South Park had it right with the jokes. It's all okay or none of it is. Xana the Dark says, here's $10 for allowing me to literally fall asleep listening to Veronica crying in one of your streams. Never changed, Nick. Such a sweet sound. Such a sweet sound. Chris Cushman, thanks for donation. SM Scorks 89 says, Nick, did you see that Vic made a parody song called The West Nile Mosquito? You have to check it out. He made it a long time ago. Yeah, I've seen. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard. Jacob Williams says, current law student here, and I'm genuinely enjoying your educational coverage of Vic's case. Raising a glass of bulkier bourbon to you, Nick. Hey, thanks, buddy. Enjoy it. Patrick Radcliffe says, Tug did a good impression of you doing an impression of Lamorne. Oh, good. Infernal Iris says, notice we lost several hundreds on the GoFundMe. Any idea what happened? Like I said, they're still reviewing. That's just what they're going to do. Yolamtes says, could you play West Nile Mosquito by Vic? First we're called Vic Stands, then a stand comes in and wrecks Kick Vic, and now Vic's song. Truly poetic. I've got to give it a listen before I can play it on stream. A2P says, lost 500 in Vegas, but the free drinks essentially made it worth it. Hope you're doing well. In Montegraph voice, Nikki. Hope you're doing well, Nikki. Steel Legion says, for the Second Amendment stream, you should get Reed Heinrichs or Ian/Carl from In Range TV /Forgotten Weapons. Talbot Link says, the thirst is real. Hail, hydrate. James Ridge says, speaking of Seth Rich, have you looked at the recent lawsuit at all? I only see snippets here or there on Twitter, and some of the claims are interesting. No, I haven't. Asia Fraser says, sing the Sesame Street Mana Mana song in Lemoyne voice. I don't know that song. Marius Van says, where does the GoFundMe refund money come from? Like I said, I think it might be coming from new money coming in, but I can't verify that. What I can say is that GoFundMe, even if they cannot refund it, like they will refund it out of their own pocket as well, though. So maybe it's coming from there. I don't know. Mad Chris 49 says, I believe in due process by and large. I was really upset to see Vic being destroyed without looking over facts first. Thanks so much for helping, Vic. Hey, it's my pleasure. Zachary Zwickle says, here's an alternative way to keep the meme names going in the GoFundMe. Turn the names into easy to solve anagrams. If you mess around with the names, they're going to end up finding it and remove your donation. That's the long and short. So I can't promote anything like that. Letter Y, thank you. Joe Zilla 1995 and Vanilla Mike, thank you for the donations. Kilroy was here, says 10 for the GoFundMe, 5 for your whiskey. Love what you do. I've been rewatching all the deposition streams for the next episode of the podcast I'm part of. Oh, hey, cool. Good. The letter Y says, have you thought about debating with another attorney about the case? Love to hear an opposing perspective. Yeah, I thought about it a long time ago when I thought that maybe they were interested in talking about the case instead of getting drive-by butt pats on Twitter. And they're not interested in actually discussing the cases. It would appear they really want to sit and dunk on things. So no, I'm not super interested anymore. I was a while ago. I'm not now. Now let's just let it play out. Forever229 says, I see you with the Viva Frey thumbnail. Oh yeah, that does kind of look like Viva thumbnail. Forever229 says, go away, Nick. James Swatchino, thanks for donation. Forever229 says, don't worry, I'll take the shots for you when I becomes too unbearable. Akfredo says, Vic did a sound bite for my show long ago. Hey, cool. Dave to Save 26 says, hey, Nick, I'm listening at work tonight. You might have mentioned it and I missed it, but I noticed you weren't in the bunker. Where are you at? I am at a home. I'm at a home in Texas, and I'll be bouncing around to various places because, I've got We've got stuff going on down here. So Nick Sack says, in Garth's voice, if you gotta spew into Vic. Oh, gross. M. Franklinstein, thanks for the donation. Werex says, it's funny how these stories keep changing. Isn't it, though? Very traumatic. They definitely have very specific memories of bad things and then keep adding stuff. Aegis Thomas says, the first letter of each sentence in the conclusion of Marchi's TCPA spells out, go away, Nick, lol. Blue Collar says, is hair fisting a crime? I guess only if the hair prolapses. Forever229 says, Marchi should hire her parody account to write for her. Sarah and Saronic, thank you for the donations. Fiery TNT says, will these lunatics ever use common sense? No. Aegis Thomas says, can Rial's email to the CEO of Rooster Teeth be construed as TI on both parties? Are independent contractors entitled to an unbiased investigation on the Texas Workplace Commission? Sounds like that implicates Rooster Teeth in the lawsuit or not. Rial's email doesn't necessarily... I don't know if that could be construed as TI, because it was after they let him go. Now, there might be emails before or communications before, so possibly, but it's hard to say. M says, so what is this affidavit you teased with Ty? Well, when I can tell you, I'll tell you. Infinity, thanks for the donations. Dave to Save 26 says, geez, it's almost as these people have the exact same story. Yeah, they keep borrowing stuff. That's an interesting thing about how memory works. When you read other stories, you start to remember things about your own story that happened in someone else's story, and you're like, oh yeah, that happened in my story too. It's weird. It's weird. No, I'm not at Ty's house. No. Let's see. Darian the Ghoul says, Jamie claims she can charm the judge with her sense of humor. I wonder how much the judge is going to like her. Oh, we'll see, I guess. No one important says, you for real? The same Jamie, I don't take shat from no one, F off. Marchi was pained from Twitter and was scared. How embarrassing. Oh, very, very terrified. Retro Renegade says, can you imagine being that sheltered and weak? Imagine her reaction to a minor car wreck. Anyways, thanks for what you're doing. Hey, thank you. Rando number 9 says, had no idea Vic was Israel skeptic. Pretty based if you ask me. Blue Collar says, hypothetical, historical, heinous hair harassment. Prison Tyrone says, Ron Toy Boy Soy should go to prison. It's not so bad. He'll get more way more dates there with all the bulls than with Beluga Whale Moronica. Gambler of Fate says, how fast do you think the TCPAs be turned down? No idea. 30 days from their hearing. Indie Visualist says, Jamie wants Vic's head and balls. She wants him to choke on pain, but not with any malice, only in the nicest way. One can take that. Check. R.A. says, nevertheless, she persisted. Grievous Error says, can't recall major details in traumatic situation. Dave to Save 26 says, why does it seem all SA cases / accusations seem to happen the exact same way, i.e. I was frozen? Good grief. No idea. Werex says, these people suffer from a hero complex. Very much. Mad Chris 49 says, do you know the lawyer Robert Barnes? I've heard of him. You would enjoy chatting with him, Nick. His case is very interesting, assuming he can speak on it. Yeah, I'd love to talk to Barnes. Corey Dillon says, this is so wrong what she's doing. Lane 20 says, and Vic pulled her closer by her hair, pressing his lips against her earlobe, and sensually whispered into her ear, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Duralex said, Lex, these people don't care about the consequences of their actions unless they might have to eat a bullet. Bring back dueling. Mark C says, did you see Andy Singler's sexual harassment rebuttal? Apparently he got Vic rolled. I'm seeing stuff about it. I'm seeing stuff about it, but I haven't really looked into it yet. Enter the QB says, as Vic pulled her closer, he sensually whispered into her ear, omelette de fromage. Cryptage says, greetings from Australia. I hope these disgusting people who did this to such a kind-hearted guy get what they deserve. Sent that one twice. Hey, thanks. Shining Nebula says, I'm filing a motion to have Lemois changed to Lame Wheeze. Lame Wheeze. Yakose, thank you for the donation. Mad Chris 49 says, thanks for believing in due process and Vic. He doesn't deserve this. Also, my grandfather was a DA and I miss him. He died this year. Was a funny man. Hey man, F for your grandfather. And Hope you have fond memories. Austin Heartless says, GoFundMe, more like refund me. Seems like it today. Hopefully they're done soon. Otherwise, I'll have to yell at them. Broken Alchemist 1987 says, I tagged you in the Jamie Minor DM. My Twitter name is Anime Girl 2.0. Love your show. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Danny 31792 says, what is the blue with the blue ring? Enjoy your vacation. It's just more comfortable than the metal ring, especially in the heat when your fingers kind of swell up. But I just wear it all the time. William McLaughlin says, shouldn't Monica be fired on the basis of her bad acting ability alone? Mr. DJ Fly High says, would you cover the Fallout 76 lawsuit? Is that still going? Ranstein Hernandez says, I thought these women were the I'm strong, independent woman type. Why make a fuss about it now as a mob rather than by themselves back then? Well, they're just too traumatized. Too traumatized by someone touching their hair. Joshua says, you should enable links for $30 tiers so bots have to pay you before they can link them. I can't. YouTube doesn't let me do that. Creeper Weirdo says, say happy birthday to my younger brother, Joey. Spent our time out to dinner at Flying Pie, nerdsplaining 40K to me. It was interesting, but I don't know where to start with it. Hey, Joey, happy birthday. Thank you for spreading the Emperor's light. Get that man started on some Eisenhorn or just start him at the beginning of the heresy. Just do it. You know you want to. You know you want to do it. Blaine 20 says, Jamie, Vic is a rapist. I want his head. I want his balls. I want him lit on fire and cast into hell. This public service health and welfare announcement brought to you by Sesame Street. Nep the World says, I see you're still testing squatters' rights in different people's homes, Nick. Yep. Never going to stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. All right, guys. I guess I'll do the Whiskey Drinking Lawyer song by My Room Records. Get this started. Okay, we're going to turn that down for just a second. All right, the theme song or whatever is playing, so we're going to end this show in just a moment. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully you got a good read on the TCPA. Hopefully you got an idea of my thoughts on it. I think, it's obviously a stronger TCPA than what Lemoyne drafted. Lemoyne's was clearly designed to damage Vic. That's what it was trying to do. Publicly damage Vic. Really doesn't seem that interested in the legal argument. Sam's here seems to stay focused on the legal argument with just some little minor barbs and jabs thrown that you would expect in any type of lawsuit. Doesn't really surprise me at all. But I think Sam's got some problems with his argument. Namely that Vic's statements and Jamie's statements, if you read those two stories, they're vastly different. They're vastly different. While he's saying that he admitted to it, they're vastly different stories. And they involve two very important facts that are not present in Vic's and that he expressly denied. Dragging her close and whispering into her ear. He said there was no jerking or tugging of any kind. It was more like a touching and feeling of hair. So that's wildly different. Question is, if Jamie said, Vic came up and played with my hair and said he loved my haircut and I was a little uncomfortable by that, would people take the same reaction as if Jamie said he grabbed me by the hair close to the base of my skull with his splayed fingers, he made a fist, he jerked me close, and he whispered something sexual into my ear? If those two stories produce different results from a normal person, they're materially different. I mean, they just are. And so they're saying that it's not a lie because he said he touched her hair, but I mean, they're clearly going to argue the opposite. So we'll see. I'll report on it as it happens. We just got to wait for Beard and Harris, Bullock and Hughes to get some responses out. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow, same time, hopefully with something better than a little bit of water to drink. But thanks for hanging out tonight. Peace.
Pour out a glass for the team, post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than me.